So I'm Maria Warren, I'm a 5th generation beef, sheep and arable farmer, and I'm one of the lucky few that was able to be born into the farming community, and it's an incredible one to be on. So it wasn't always farming that I knew or I thought I wanted to do. I always knew I'd come back to the farm, but it was more a question of when rather than how. So I became a veterinary nurse about 4 years ago now. I practiced in that with large animal and small. I had my son Samuel, and after that it just sort of confirmed in my mind that this is now the right time to come back to the farm and really learn how to take on the family farm. I work alongside my dad and grandpa, and every day is an adventure. We are never doing the same thing twice, and I enjoy every single second of it. We've got about 250 breeding ewes. They are Texel, cross Suffolk, cross North Country mules. We've also got about 30 breeding Hereford heifers with 1 Hereford bull, and also about 60 stalls that we buy in each year to sell as fat and produce into the food chain. We've also got about 5 chickens and 3 border collies that I love spending time with. So my typical day in the life as a farmer has probably changed from a year or 2 ago of what it would have been. I've now got my son Samuel, so that means he has to always come first, but the farm is just as vitally important. So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll go out and do as much of the yard work as I can. That'll be feeding up the cattle, bedding up, checking the sheep, making sure there's nothing calving at the moment because we're in calving time now. In between times I have a monitor on me, monitoring Samuel to see when he's waking up. If he wakes up in between, we have his breakfast and pause on the yard work for a moment. So today, for example, we've gone and we've moved sheep around so that the sandman can come and spread the sand all over the fields to increase our pH levels so we can get the best out of our soil and really look after what we already have. After moving the sheep, we went and moved some cattle around, put some cows and calves out to field because the weather has been beautiful at the moment and we're really trying to make the most of that too. My dad has also been on since about 6 a.m. this morning spreading fertiliser, and with fertiliser you have to find the right weather conditions, and at the moment it has been just right. Later on, I'm probably going to go and check the cows again, or I will check the cows again and do the evening yard work, and by that time the day will have gone by before we even know it. Whereas a different day could be tractor work all day, it could be a range of livestock work, and the list is never ending. So the current season we're in at the moment has been incredibly challenging for farmers all up and down the country, and it is one that I really sympathise with everybody, even ourselves, with. It's been impossible to get things done on the timescale that we want, and it wouldn't surprise me if people see losses this year. We haven't been able to get our spring barley in the time that we need, and unfortunately for us and many others, it means we're at least a month behind on getting that in, which may just affect our yields and the time of which we harvest. With that also, we've got the livestock involved on this farm, so we're not able to put the sheep out as quickly as we wanted from a lambing shed. Lambing has had to be primarily indoors this year, which is something quite new to us within the last 5 years. And that has also meant that we've had to keep the sheep and the lambs inside for longer. So I utilise my social media platforms to connect with everyone by showing what I do on a really realistic basis. If there's something happening that I feel could be interpreted in a wrong way, I'll just explain it more. I'm not going to hide it. I have a really trusting relationship with both my followers, and I think they have one with me too. And because of that, I think that's where my support comes from, is just being honest and showing absolutely everything we do, showing the bad days, the good days, showing the bad crops, the rubbish yields, and as well as that, showing the successful crops and the cattle and everything else that I do in between. So misconceptions in farming is the whole reason I do what I do. I want to bridge the gap between consumer and farmer. We don't treat our animals right, which is always at the forefront of most questions and most people's minds, I feel. Why we do things to the land, maybe we don't look after nature as much, but we have all of that at mind. I mean, now you can probably hear all the birds chirping, and at night wildlife is right around here. We really do look after it. We've got 2 woodlands here that we conserve and really utilise in every single way that we can, as well as maybe women in agriculture. I feel like that can be something that people can sort of have a negative light on. And I think the only reason that's there is because it's not a women-dominated industry. So when you think of farming, you simply think of men farming because that's the higher percentage, and I think that's the only reason. It's just sort of showing people that we are in the industry and we are doing a great job, and I think that's the only reason the negative light is there. So in regards to consumers supporting farmers and what they can do, there are so many ways, and I guarantee I won't remember all of them right now. It can range from literally just showing your support on social media, challenging those negative views that you see around agriculture, asking why they're there, maybe even approaching a farmer and seeing what they think of it, and getting their sort of experience on the side, so you almost have a bit of experience when you're talking about it. And that's a really simple way you can get involved and really support our industry, and it doesn't cost you anything. At the end of the day, supporting them mentally is as much support as it is financially, and just getting the word out there of the great things that we're doing. I think Shout About Farming is such a great initiative, not just because they're supporting our agriculture industry, but also because they're bridging the gap between farmer and consumer, and that is exactly why I am getting involved.